Hello, welcome you all. In this video, I'm going to cover Python crash course. This video will help you to revise all basic to advanced level concept required to run any code and to understand any code in Python programming language. So let's start. First, we will going to write a very basic program, hello program. So hello you can write inside a print a single quote or a double quote. So when you run this, you are going to get the output as hello. I'm working on Google Colab. You can work in Jupyter Notebook or Python ideally as per your convenient. So when I print hello, it is going to say hello to me. I can use double quote also to get the hello answer as the same. Okay. So now let's start with the data type. So in Python, we have the first data type called as an integer. You can see a equal to 4. We don't need to define anything to the Python that this is a data type. We just need to give the input and the Python will try to understand with that value and automatically says it is integer value. Okay, the second one a equal to 4.6, and if I check the type of a, it is going to say me it is a float. Now I'm going to give a equal to single quote d, and when I check for this, it is going to say it is str, that is a string. Instead of single quote, you can give double quote also. So there is no character type of a data type in the Python. In Python, we have the data type called as a string. So single character is also considered to be as a string, or a word is also considered to be as a string. Python also support a very interesting data structure or a data type called the tuple, list, set, and dictionary. So first, let's start with tuple. If you have multiple values stored in a normal bracket, this data type is called basically tuple. If you don't put even a bracket, still it is going to be say it is a tuple. When you put a square bracket, it is basically the data type or a data structure called as a list. When you put a curly bracket, that is basically called as set in the Python. Great. Okay. When you put a curly bracket with some value like this, value colon value, so this is basically called as dictionary. So dictionary have the very special part, and that is called key and value pair. So what is key over here? 10 comma 20 is basically key, and what is value over here? The value is 2 comma 3 is basically called the value. Python do support two more data type called as a boolean and the complex. So when you have some value inside this, and if I check it for this, it is going to say true, and if it is a blank box, then it is going to say false. So true and false are the boolean data type. Similarly, Python do support one more data type, and that is called complex. 4 plus 6j is basically called as complex data type. So when you write this is a 4 is a real value and 6j is basically the imaginary value. So 4 plus 6j is called as a complex value data type in the Python. Now going to the next part. What are the different print statement Python is comfortable to work? Suppose I'm taking my string as hello, and if I want to print this hello, I can use percentage format. The percentage s is basically for string. When you use percentage f, the percentage f is basically called as for float. And when you take percentage d, the percentage d is basically used for integer. So when you run this code, the output will be string, then percentage s will relate to my string, and that is will be equal to hello. Then similarly my float. So my float, the float value percentage f will relate to my float, and that is 3.5. then my integer. So in my integer it is the value equal to 100. So integer equal to percentage d. So percentage d, it will relate to my integer, and in my integer we have the value 100. So integer equal to 100. So using percentage format, you can basically display your answer in term of a string, float, or integer. So suppose you want to use the percentage dot format for this example. Let's take this example. Name equal to John. So John age is basically 23 and his height is 165.44. So when you write a statement like this, percentage s is a percentage d year old. So percentage s will relate to name, and name here is a John. Percentage d will relate to the age, and age here is basically 23. Percentage s over here will relate to again the name, that is called John, and percentage f basically related to the height of the John, that is 165.44. So when you write percentage s is a percentage d year old, so this will going to display John is 23 years old. Let's see. Yes, John have percentage F height. So John have 165.44 as height. Great. So now we have understood how the percentage works for a print statement in Python. We have the next format called as a dot format method to print the statement in the Python. So suppose I take a simple example. The age is 32 and the name is Piyush. So the we are going to use a dot format method. My name is a blank curly bracket. My age is a blank curly bracket. And inside the format, I'm going to write two variable name, which I have predefined. So in the name, I have defined as Piyush, or in the age, I have defined as 32. So when I run this, it is going to display my name is curly bracket, that is name. My age is curly bracket, that is age. So my name is Piyush, my age is 32. Similarly, I can use the format like this. Instead of giving the blank format, we can give some variable name inside that. So that is equal to curly bracket 1 is my age is 2. So what is 1? 1 is name and 2 is basically age. So what is name? Name is Piyush and age is 32. So let's run this code, and this is my name is Piyush and my age is 32. So previous and this output is almost same. So you might be wondering why we have used this kind of a method. Suppose you want to use one variable again and again. Like in this case, I'm using this way. My name is Piyush. My age is 32 and Piyush is a professional trainer. So when you write one to this kind of a variable and related to the previously predefined variable like here, age and name, it is going to say a proper statement. So my name is 1. 1 is a name. My age is 2. 2 is a age. Uh, One is a professional trainer, one is a name. So this is going to display my name is Piyush, my age is 32. Piyush is a professional trainer. Wow, very beautifully we have understood this. So now going and understanding how to take input. So in Python, we can have a predefined input like a equal to 4, b equal to 7. So this way you can predefine the input, or you can take the input from user. So to take the input from user, you need to run the command like this: a equal to input. So if you see here, there's nothing coming up. So we can write 5 over here and just press enter. So inside the a, 5 will be stored. But if you check the a, so it is going to say 5 in a single quote. So you might be wondering why it is coming so. So when I check the type of A, you will be wonder more. The type of A, it is going to show that it is string. Okay, so we have given the input as basically the integer number, but it is basically taking the input as default as a string. So let's try to understand how to modify this. So to do this process, we normally write here integer, or we can write over here float also. This converts my input into default string to default whatever you want. Like you want a string, you can write string over here. If you want float, you can write float over there. So this is going to be suppose value. Suppose I put 5 over here and just press enter. When I check the value of A, now it is 5, no single quote. And when you check the type of A, it is going to say integer. Very nice. But here also there is one more problem. You see the blank box. There is no message to that. So user may get confused. So better way is to give some reading to that or some message to that. Like here we are putting enter some enter something please. So this way basically we say user that you enter some value. So this is the best way to communicate to the user. Okay, otherwise user may get confused. Similarly, we can take the input integer and the message. So this is a perfect statement of an input. If you put 5 and you can check the type of A, even you can check the type of the value of A. Now let's go to the arithmetic operation, what is possible with Python. So A is equal to 10 and B equal to 5. Addition operation is possible with Python. Subtraction operation is also possible with Python. Then multiplication operation is possible with Python. Now in divide, we have a lot of operation like let me take this as 11. So that would be a better idea. So if I take 11 and if I have a single division, it is 5.5. But if I have a 2 slash like this, it is going to give me only integer value. And if I write over here percentage, it is going to give me the remainder value. Great. So these are the arithmetic operation. One more arithmetic operation, raised to power a raised to b. We can also find out that way. Great. So now coming to the logical operator. We have three type of a logical operator over here. One is called AND operation. The second one is called basically OR operation. The third one is basically called as XOR operation. Negation is also possible. So I'm taking 10 and 15. I'm just doing an ANDing operation and converting into the binary. Similarly, I'm doing an OR operation and here I'm doing a XOR operation. Great. Now we have the comparison operators also available in the Python. So suppose a equal to 5 and b equal to 4. If I check a greater than equal to b, it is going to say true. Yes, 5 is greater than 4. When you check a greater than b, it is true. When you check a less than b, it is false. When you check a greater than equal to b, it is say true. A less than equal to b, it is going to say false. A equal to B, it is going to say false. A is B, it is going to say false. A is not B, yes, true. Very nice. Now let's try to understand how the data type conversion is also possible in Python. So suppose a integer, int, 56.56 is basically a float value and I'm converting into integer. Similarly, 44 is basically the 44 is basically the integer value, and using a float as a keyword, I'm converting that into the uh, float. Again, suppose hello is a string, and I can convert the hello in either into the tuple or I can convert this into the list. So now this is basically called as a data type conversion. Let's move ahead. So I'm going to start with a string now. Suppose Python is the best is one string I have defined. So now in this, the P is basically considered to be location 0. When I take the next one, that is y, so y is considered to be as location number 1. Next, when I take the t, so t is considered to be as location or indexing 2, and so on. Okay, great. Now this is clear. So let me put a hash over here, so it won't generate a error. Okay, because these are the comments. So now the indexing is very clear to us. So when I put var equal to Python is best, and var, if I check, so it is going to say Python is best. When I check on a zeroth location, it is going to say p. Yes, in the zeroth location we have p. Even the space is also counted with some value. Okay. So now suppose if I want to go for A1 to 6, so whenever you write in term of, suppose we take a var itself, whenever you write in a bracket like this, A colon n. So this is basically going to give the value between A to n minus 1. This is the default way to represent. So when you write 1 to 6, it is going to present 1 to n minus 1, that is 5. 1 to 5 it is going to represent. So 1 is at p, 2, 0 at it, okay, 1 at y, okay, 2 at t, 3 at h, 4 at o, and 5 at n. So y, t, h, o, n, o, n. This is going to represent this way. Similarly, in Python, we have a negative indexing also, like t is considered to be as, so let me put a hash mark, t is at -1 location. Similarly, when I go ahead, s is at equal to -2 location, and so on. So when I check it for var equal to -1, it is going to say t. When I have east and west like this, I intentionally put a space over here. So when I add these two, it is going to say east and west. If I remove this space, the east and west will be represented as joint. So suppose VAR is your name and VAR2 is your surname. So when you have name and surname together, it is your full name. So this way you can represent in library, in string. That is basically called as a concatenation operation. So now we have the library called as a math library. This is the inbuilt library in the Python, and you can do a lot of mathematical operation with math library. So first we need to import the math library. Import means we are calling that library. Now suppose if I take a 35.74, this value is basically 74. This value is basically in between two values. So this is basically in between 35 to 36. So whenever I'm going to write a floor, so the floor will be 35, and whenever I want to write a sill, the sill will be 36. Okay, great. So whenever I want to check for a sill, it is 36, and the floor value is always the lower value than that. Great. So here the rounding of operation is not taking place. You can see, even if I write here 35.24, it is going to round off to 36 itself. Great. Math.e, that is also 2.71. You can find out the square root directly with the math library. Even you can separate the integer value out of the fractional value. Okay, so integer value will be separated, the fractional value will be separated. Even you can find out the raised to power using math.library. You can find out the factorial using math library. Very easy to find out. Now we are going to start with sequence, selection, and the repetition. This basically allow us to run our program into the control format. Without this, it is almost difficult to run the program in the control format. So let's start with for loop. So for loop, if I write like this, for x in the range 5, print x. What is the meaning of that? So whenever you write range in the bracket, suppose n, so this is going to basically generate the value from 0 to n minus 1. So that means this is going to take 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to take that value inside the x, and I'm going to print the x until and unless all the value get over. So for x in range 5, the print x, so this is going to print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can take the value like this also. When you take a range, in between, suppose if I write a comma n, so this is going to print the value from a to n minus 1. Okay, now you can able to make out. So a here is a 3 and n is basically 6. So this is going to print the value between 3 to 5. So 3, 4, 5. Even you can take the value like this, and this is basically called as a gap. So this is going to skip one value. So 3 to 8 means the value will be from 3 to 7, but after 3, one value will be skip. So that is 5. 4 is skip, and the value we will get is 5. After 5, one value will be skip, that is 6. So we'll get the value 7. Great. So now we are going to the control statement, if else, and elif also we are going to do the same. Suppose I equal to 1. So first condition is true. First condition is satisfied. Even I have written all the next condition also in the satisfactory form. Like 4 equal to 4 is a true. But once the first condition is satisfied, Python will not check the rest condition. Let's make the first condition as false. So it is going to check for the next condition. So this condition is satisfied, is going to print the second. Even if the last two conditions are satisfied, it is not going to print that. So now let's make this condition also false. So now the Python will go to the third elif. Okay, great. And let's make this is also not true. So this is going to go to the last one. Great. Okay. So whenever we know how many iteration to take, we can go for a for loop. And if we don't know how many iteration to take, we can go for while loop. So while loop basically check a condition and print that. So suppose I equal to 1, I'm checking a condition I equal to I less than 5. If the values of I is less than 5, it is going to print that. Great. So I 1, 2, 3, 4, it is printing. When I take count equal to 0 while true, and now I'm not putting any condition with while. So you can take a help of a break, or you can take a help of a continue. So break will come out of the loop if the condition is satisfied, and continue will continue in the loop until the condition is satisfied. Great. So here I'm checking the values greater than 5 or equal to 5. If that value is not greater than equal to 5, then that is going to be in the loop. And in the loop, we are doing one value addition. Once the condition is satisfied, it will come out, it will break this loop and come out of the loop. And so I have intentionally written print MHM. So this is basically shows that we have break the loop, we have come out of the loop. Great. Now coming to the continue. So in the continue, suppose the condition is satisfied, then you will not come out of the loop. You will be continuing the loop itself. So that is basically called as a continue. So here I'm taking the value from 0 to 9. And if the value is divided by 2, that is not been printed because that value is basically in the continue statement. So all the odd value will be printed. This is also an interesting example. Suppose I'm taking a value from 1 to 16. So that will be going to print 1 to 15. And I'm not going to print the value from 9 to 14, that is 9 to 13. So before 9, 1 to 8 will going to come. After 14, that is 15, 15 will going to come. Okay, after 13, the 14 and 15 will going to come. Great, you can check out. Let's go to the next one. In the next one, we are going to understand the next very important part, and that is the date, time, and a calendar module. So I'm importing the time module first. And in the time module, I'm going to work on the first one, and that is the sleep. So when you write time dot sleep, it is basically uh, create one kind of a delay. So when I run this 10-second, it is not going to display anything. So the system is busy doing nothing. So when you have two devices where you actually want to match up the speed, you can use time dot delay function. Great. So we have come out of the delay. Now suppose if I do time dot time, it is going to give a very weird answer, which is not understood by us. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put this time dot time value into local time. So you can see it is year 2020. The day of the month is 10/10. Okay. This is a GMT time. This is the fifth day. So 0 is considered to be as Monday in the Python. 1 is considered to be as Tuesday, and so on. This is 284th day in 2020. Okay. So if you don't want such detail, you can just write down time dot ASCII time. ASC time, it is going to give you the display in terms of a time, Saturday, October, and other things. Great. So now I'm going to import the calendar, and I'm going to check out the calendar for August month 2019. I can even check out the leap year, whether 2019 was a leap year or not. If it is a not leap year, it is going to say false. Similarly for 2016, yes, it is a leap year, so it is say true. Now we'll try to understand how the exception handle in the Python. Let's take a simple example. Suppose we take a helper example like we are taking the value of numerator and denominator from user. Okay, numerator and denominator from user. Now this program is a syntactically correct, and this program is logically also correct. We are taking only two input, numerator and the denominator, and after that we are dividing that, and we are producing the answer. Suppose if I put a 4 and this is denominator is 2, the answer is 2. Yes, correct. But this program will create a problem when a user enter 5 and the denominator is 0. So this is going to say 0 divided by error. So this is one kind of error which has occurred. The number cannot be divided by 0. So what is the solution for that? See, the program is 100% correct in terms of a syntax. The program is 100% correct in terms of a logic, but user has entered the wrong value. So we need to tell the user that you are incorrect, not our program. So we are going to write the program in other beautiful format called as exception handling. So here we are going to use a try and except method to basically check out whether any error is occurring or not. So first we will try it, and if there is no error, then we are going to display. And if there is an error, we will just tell the user that there is an error, just rectify that error, and then only the answer will be printed. Great. So let's try this with different example. So first I'm going to put the value as 4 and 2, same value, 4 and then 2. The answer is equal to, the answer is coming out to be 2. Great. So now let's run for 4 and 0. So when I put 0 over here, it is going to say denominator cannot be 0 because it has basically tried this. The error is generated. So once the error is generated, the program control will not go to the print statement. It is go to the except statement where we are going to display the error message. Great. So now what is the meaning of assertion? This is basically used for software testing purpose or program debugging purpose. If the previous statement is true, it is going to say true. So like 2 plus 2 equal to 4. If I check it for assert, it is going to say 2. That is the next part isn't printed. Suppose if I put a wrong condition over here and if I run this, it's going to say for this is going to say assertion error. So if the condition is not satisfied, assertion function will not go to the next one. Great. So let's try for a random function. So in the random, we generate a random value like this. Okay, there's a space over here. We just need to remove that. Let's run this one more time. Okay, so the best way is to type one more time, import random. Great. So now the value random value from 100 to 499, 500 minus 1 499 will be generated, single value. Every time you run, you are going to get a random value. Every time you run, you are going to get a random value. Great. You can create a random fractional value also. You're going to you can create a random fractional value also. You can create a random integer. It work as a rand int and rand range is work as almost same. Great. Suppose you have a lister value and you want a random choice out of that. You can also do that using random. Now the next one is, suppose I want to create a file and this file is a text file. So I'm creating a file in the write mode. I'm going to append one line into that. After that, I'm going to read that file again. So I'm creating a file called pnd.txt. I want you to see over here. There's no file over here right now. When I run this, the file will be created over here and stored into the sample. So let's see one more time. Yes, the pnd.txt is created, and I just put a single line called as basically called as this is first line. Great. So let me close this, and now I'm going to append a line. This is second line inside that. So when you open this, there will be a second line also coming up. Great. Suppose you can read the file also. So pnd.read, I'm going to read the file. If you are working with a Jupyter notebook, your text file has to be on the same location where your program has been stored. Great. So you can see the first two lines which I kept inside the text file. I can read it out. Now coming to the iterator. Now in for loop, we just go to the next value again and again until the all value get completed. But in the iterator, user have the control. Like here, I put a iterator and this iterator will go to the first value. Again, if I run it, it is going to go to second value. If I run it one more time, it is going to the next value, sixth value. So when you have basically the even iterator or iterator, it is going to help us to go one by one value if you want to debug the program. And next one is a counter. Counter is basically inside the collection module. So this is basically going to count the number of occurrence of variables. Like here we have a is coming up again and again. So a is basically printing in term of what? Okay. So here I missed one bracket. So let me take this bracket and run one more time. Okay. So a is basically printed 3 times. Great. So let's go to the next one. Now this is basically called the dot format method. But before that we have a function. So program can be written in a normal format. The program can be written in a function format also. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a function, which is the name is my function. So I'm going to pass the value into that and this will going to print that value. Okay. I can do some processing also, like I'm passing the value and I'm going to processing, and that processing was multiply by 2. Okay. Sometime you will not going to have the print statement inside the function. So function do the process and just repeat, just return the value. So this is the one kind of a function which is taking the value from us, multiplying with 2 and just displaying. And the print statement is the not part of the function for this case. Great. Now, what is the use of a map function? This is slightly heavy, but let me try to make you understand this. So first, this is basically called as an operation, and this is basically called as a data. Okay, so I want to apply the operation on a data so that we get certain answer like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to multiply each with 2. Great. So this is going to give me the answer, which is multiple of each element is multiplied by 2. The next one is the lambda function. In the lambda, instead of writing the operation in the function, you can just write down in the lambda. So this is also this is the operation, this is data, and this is a multiple. In filter, you can just filter out the value like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which number is divided by 2? If that number is divided by 2, that will be a part of a sequence. Other can be removed from that. Great. So now we have the next method called as the is instant method. In this, we can check the data which is put inside that and the data type is same or not. If both are same, the answer will going to come as true. So 24 and integer is true. 24 and float is going to be a false. This is basically a set, and if I check it for set, it is going to say yes, true. What is the use of a format method? So now we have the different kind of a number system: decimal, hex, binary, octal. So now this is a decimal number. I'm going to convert this into uh, binary number 0xb. I can convert that into binary using, sorry, this is the hex number, x is hex and b is binary, o is octal. So now let's go to the next one, and it's called Python Q. So Python Q basically put the value inside that. Okay, and there are two type of a queue. First queue is called as a FIFO queue, first in first out queue, and the second one is basically called as a LIFO, that is last in first out queue. Okay, so this is basically putting the value and getting it outside. Very simple. You can even find out how much time required to execute one program. Like here, 10 multiplied by 5, it is basically going to say, okay, very small time is required to execute that. And the final one is a round operation, like 10.54 round to 11 and 10.45 round to 10. Great. So I was not knowing that. So rounding operation, we can do that. Great. So all the required concept for Python I covered into this Python crash course. Hope this is useful to you. Thank you very much.